All right, so today we're going to talk about how to start and grow an e-commerce business online with no inventory. All you need at the bottom line is a registered business, cell phone, and Wi-Fi. I'm going to take a second to introduce myself, and also what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the content for today's presentation with you. So just let me know if you see the documents pop up under files so that you can access them. And y'all gotta drop, y'all gotta respond in the chat so I can know that y'all are following me. Because I know I see people in the room, but the way that I can kind of stay on pace is by, let me know if you got the files so then I can move forward. Awesome. All right, perfect. All right, so a little bit about myself. I'm a mom, I'm a business mentor, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, and also I'm a travel lover. I'm the founder of Support Influences Success, and my specialty is teaching aspiring entrepreneurs how to start successful businesses. I focus with my clients on company foundation, growth, and basically putting in place the proper systems to help you be successful. I've been a business owner solo going on 8 years now. The last time I did work a full time job was 2012. It was working at Target. Um, since then, within my company, I've helped launch over 200 companies and assisted over 500 business owners with their company. The reason why I'm giving you your background is just because I do want you to understand as we're going through this presentation where we're at, why I reference certain things and why I put like high importance on certain things as well. It's really all just coming from my experience in working with entrepreneurs and business owners. Stop here with education. Um, right here, cute picture of me traveling in Savannah. Under that is basically it's like kind of like one of my client highlight reels. The client is Elegance Beauty Supply Store. She was based in Kissimmee, Florida, and basically I worked with her from she started out having two stores. So she had her beauty supply store and she had a boutique next to it. She eventually downsized from the two stores to one store, and I assisted her with this, along with doing all her product inventory, getting all of her items and uploaded to her website, and then helping her to basically start to put in place the marketing campaigns to be able to then start to see sales generate from her online store. So, wow, for client privilege, I don't show like stats from their stores. I show real life scenarios. So like this is me in her store working with her signage and helping her do her inventory alongside a Google campaign that we did. And if you see on this picture alone, it's about 50,000 views from people in the area that were looking for a beauty supply store. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is kind of like one of the core components of a drop shipping store is marketing, and it's your SEO, it's your online presence, and these are the core factors that are going to help to drive sales to your online store. So let's get started. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can also, I think you can like raise your hand to speak, and you can also chime in and join the discussion. So we'll start with what is drop shipping. Drop shipping is basically a fulfillment method where a store doesn't keep any of the products that they sell in stock. Instead, basically, the store purchases the products from a third party supplier who then ships the products directly to the customer. So, to kind of simplify it, you don't ever touch the product. So, you don't package anything, you don't put anything in boxes. Um, you will have, depending upon the supplier, you may be completely hands off, or you may have to do a couple of things, as far as on like responding to the customers and returns and things of that nature. But we'll get into all that. The biggest difference between drop shipping and a standard retail store is that basically you don't have any stock. As I explained with my client earlier, we took all of her stock and put it online. She had a ton of stock and she had to get rid of it. Instead of you investing in the stock, in the items, the inventory, we're gonna help to set you up with the right drop shipping companies who will send out the items and you'll be able to get them wholesale. So let's break down the process. All right. So at the top, you have your store. And most people think that that is where it starts, but it really actually starts with the customer because in order to have a successful drop shipping store, you have to know who your ideal customer is. Because, and once you know who your ideal customer is, you can then identify the types of products that you want to sell, the pricing, all that good stuff. So it starts with the customer. The customer goes to your store and they purchase the products. From there, it will either be one of two different methods. The first method is basically where the order comes into your online store and you get the order. You then go to the drop shipping company website and you place the order and they send it to the customer. So that process requires you to do a little bit of work because you have to basically, place the order with the drop shipping company. There are some drop shipping companies that are seamless. So it's basically one click setup. They order from your website, it goes straight to the drop shipping company, and then the product goes out. Now, that is really going to just kind of boil down to the types of items that you're selling, the city and state that you live in, those regulations and things of that nature. So it'll be different from everybody. Um, but before we move on to the next slide, is everybody kind of on the same page from here? All right, so here we're going to talk about the biggest mistakes made when it comes to drop shipping. Mistake number one is launching a general store. So many people they start with drop shipping, and you're able to see the catalog, and you start to see all these different products that you can add, and you start to sell a large variety of products. Um, because you think that okay, by having 100 items, I have a bigger chance of making more sales. But that's actually like the furthest thing from the truth. And it's more important to focus on a targeted audience when it comes to building your store. So selling waist trainers and skincare items in the same store, while for some companies, if that's your brand, it will work. If it's not your brand, it'll start to give flea market vibes and it'll be like, okay, well, what type of company is this really? What type of products do they really sell? So you want to make sure that first and foremost, like all of the products that you're selling are in alignment with your brand. Um, and then I would say outside of that, if you're if you're looking to do a drop shipping store that complements products that you already have, you can start to look at some different drop shipping companies where they do like customized items, there's some like Printly that do customized shirts with your logo on it and things of that nature. So there are a lot of different things you can do. But just know that like confused leads become missed sales because they don't know where to go when it comes to your store. So aligned audience, um, kind of quiz. So we have two stores. We have store A and we have store B. Store A has a vast majority of things, and then store B has a lot of like kitchen appliances. And I'm wondering, from what we just talked about, I want to kind of gauge like where we're at, and everybody drop in the chat, kind of like which store you think will make more sales. So store B would actually make more sales because basically every item is tailored for someone that's in the kitchen. Every item is tailored for someone that likes to cook. So that is a very niche audience. It's narrowed down So running a marketing campaign for that type of company would be super simple. The other company, you have this super mix. We got the bundles. That's a whole nother story. A bundle store in itself, that's a whole lot of work. Then you have the house, the chandelier, the kitchen stuff, and the dog stuff. And while you could say, okay, maybe you see all these things at Walmart, um, not necessarily. Yeah, we're all on the same page. All right, cool. All right, so mistake number two is kind of ties into mistake number one, which is not understanding your target audience. I really broke this down, but I'm gonna kind of like go over it, because I also attached this as a file for you as well, so you all can kind of like read through this on your own. But the I touched on this on the last couple of slides, but the number one thing is doing your market research to set a solid foundation for your business. So step one, first and foremost, is to measure the current demand for your product. So there's a website called KW Finder, and I'll attach the link at the end. And basically, like, you can go to that website and you can search keywords, and it'll show you what's trending. So like, what are the most popular products? And then you can also like upload the type of product that you want to sell, and it could tell you like how good that product is currently selling. These are all things that can help you to start a drop shipping company, but do it right the first time so you're not testing out the market. Like, really understand your audience first before you invest all the money. Step two, the second step is to understand how seasonality may impact your customers' purchasing patterns. And that's really important because, if you sell winter stuff, you gotta know that, October, November, December, your stuff is gonna sell good. Summertime, it's not gonna sell as good. So you want to kind of think about those type of companies, and then you also want to think about, your location, how well it, an existing product is gonna do in your location. All of these things are important to take into account. Um, Step three, the third step is to scope out your competition and observe how they engage with the market. I feel like that's important for no matter what industry you're getting into, is to understand your competitors. So check out their website, check out their social media, look at the way that they run ads. Most of these companies are also established on Amazon and eBay, so you can kind of see their ratings and reviews, what people like, what people dislike, quality, and all these things are available online. So these are the things that you can really do in the beginning to help to start your drop shipping store correct the first time. All right. So we talked about marketing, and as entrepreneurs, a lot of the times we do wear a lot of hats. In the beginning, you'll probably be the one doing your marketing campaign, unless you're able to, hire someone to assist you with a marketing campaign. So it's important to start to think about things like this. Um, Owner number one, she has a car seat that she's selling, and her targeted demographic is mothers of small children. Owner number two, same item, but she is a little bit more specific in her audience. She has the first time mothers under the age of 30 that believe in a healthy living and are married and that make under $50,000 a year living on the East Coast. So she's tailored it down. And if you're like on Google and you're doing Google ads, you'll see, your targeted demographic scope go from like 1 million to like 250,000 people. That's what you want. You want to be able to reach a small target demographic of people. So more people are seeing your ads, and more of the right people are seeing your ads. So while number one, mothers of children is okay as a starting point, you would want to narrow it down because there's millions and millions of mothers of small children in the world, and you can't reach everybody. You can't sell to everybody. There's competitors out there. So narrow it down a little bit, and you'll find yourself in good hands when it comes to marketing. Who is drop shipping for? There are a few types of entrepreneurs that drop shipping is made for, I would say, is good for. You have the current entrepreneur. So drop shipping can be a great way to test and incorporate new products before investing a lot of money into inventory. So that's like if you already have a current business and you want to add some new items onto your business. If you want to kind of like test, how people are going to buy some products, you can do drop shipping in the beginning. Maybe it's something as simple as like hoodies with your logo on it. Start out with a small drop shipping company, add it on, and that way you don't go out and spend $300 on a bunch of hoodies, and now you're trying to like get these hoodies off because you're like, I gotta sell these, I gotta sell these. Instead, you have the drop shipping, and you still do the same marketing, you still take the same approach, except you just not, carrying around a bunch of hoodies. You have the budget entrepreneur. Drop shipping is good because it's least expensive to get into it. It's not a lot of money when it comes to starting up a drop shipping company. Um, it could be, it could cost you, a little bit under $100 if you really want to do it right. It'll cost you about $200. Let's say, okay, if you want to talk about your domain name, your hosting, and depending on the drop shipping account that you want, your drop shipping account typically some of them will have like a monthly fee and some of them won't. So it all depends. So you're looking at an investment of approximately about $200 if you really want to go all out. If you want to just test it out, you could definitely do it for under $100. Um, and you could do it for free too. There's plenty of ways that you could do it for free. We could talk about that, but it'll take time. And then we have the first time entrepreneur. So it's a good way to start selling online because like you said, it's a low startup cost, and it'll help you to really understand what it takes to sell products. Because selling online isn't easy. You have to do the marketing. You have to drive the traffic. Um, that's where you're gonna spend a bulk of your time. But if you spend the time investing in like the marketing, then you'll see the sales. So then it pays off, and that's when you kind of get into like how people market and promote drop shipping as I can work from home. I don't have to work at my job anymore. It all depends on how much work you put in, to be honest. All right, so we're gonna talk about the four-phase process. Understanding the passive method. So we broke it down into four phases. The first phase is profit products. The second phase is aligned audience. We got store sales machine, and then we have autopilot automation. So we're gonna break these down in the next couple slides. Phase one, finding profit products. So honestly, this is the starting point because it's like, okay, what products am I going to sell? What products am I going to incorporate into my store? You can use the competition for inspiration. Like, what are other people doing? Why reinvent the wheel, right? Um, criteria. There's going to be a couple things that you're going to look at when it comes to criteria. Understand the type of products that you want to sell because what's going to happen is you'll get on like these drop shipping stores and you'll see hundreds and hundreds of products that you have to choose from, and you have to say, okay, am I going to be a high class store where like I'm selling like top of the line items, or do I just want to be budget friendly? Do I want to you got to really think about, what's your criteria of the type of product so that once you get into these search catalogs, you know what you're looking for. You want to consider the retail price and the wholesale price. I'll kind of show you something a little bit on that at the end before we wrap up. So you want to, so with every catalog, you're going to see, okay, for example, a bottle of water from the wholesale company may be $1.25, and you're gonna have to look at that price, and you're gonna have to say, okay, well, I can sell this bottle of water for $2. My profit margin is 75 cents off of every water bottle that I sell, right? So you got to think about, what's the price, who's your audience, how much are they spending. Think about shipping. Packaging and shipping costs are going to vary between products. Some platforms will give free shipping, some won't. So you really want to pay close attention to that. and you also want to, keep an eye on the durability and how good the product is. Um, a lot of the drop shipping companies, you can actually like order one of the items ahead of time. So it depends upon how big your store is. You definitely want to order a couple of things from a drop shipping company just to test the product. I say before you go out and you're marketing it, because nothing's worse than you drop shipping an item to someone and they get it and it's like, oh, I paid $200 for this desk and it's like it's flimsy and the pieces, coming apart and stuff like that. And if you pay $10 for the desk and it came from a, a China, drop shipping company, well then that's to be expected. But you want to also, you know, price your products realistically. So there's tons of drop shipping companies from all different locations that you'll be able to choose from. So at this stage, you'll want to know the products that you're interested in selling. Phase two. All right. So phase two is basically determining your aligned audience. So kind of how we talked about earlier, understanding who your audience is. You're gonna basically look through all of the different niches that are available, the different products and categories, and you're gonna find the ones that are the most aligned with your brand and the most aligned with the audience that you're looking to reach. You're going to basically do your research and figure out, okay, how can I stand out in the marketplace? And you're going to develop your dream customer in your head and figure out how to find them. So if we're going back to the earlier scenario of the woman with the car seat, the her ideal audience, her dream customer, she already has them mapped out. She's like, it's a mom, this age, living in this area, I know who my ideal customer is, so I know how I'm gonna approach them and market to that person because I know that they like this and their kids go to like private school and so think about those things. Think about the niche and the audience. I see I follow me. All right, phase three. Store sales machine. So basically at this point you're gonna connect with your Shopify, DSers or AliExpress account. All of these different websites they have guided video tutorials that can show you, the step by step process. So this is something that you can do. People pay people to do it for them. I have clients that pay me to do it for them as well. But this is a do it yourself tutorial webinar. So basically my goal is to teach you all the steps to do it yourself. And if you need help, I'm here. So we're gonna basically go through the steps of setting up your online store because this is where you're gonna get all your money, right? So you're gonna connect to your drop shipping company, create a really nice professional looking website. One of the most important things to think about when you're designing your drop shipping store is basically like your product descriptions because a lot of people they're like copy and paste from one website to the next and then you just have like the same generic caption that all these other websites have, and it's not selling. So what you want to do is you want to go to the dropshipping company website, product, image, bring it over. You want to take the product name, you want to change it up to something that you feel like would be enticing to your audience, and then you want to also take the product description and tailor it more specifically for your audience. So whatever they have, that generic caption, you can use bits and pieces of that, but I would definitely, try to make it sound like your brand's voice. And the last thing that you want to do is really deep dive into your branding, customer service tips, to keep your company happy, your customers happy. Um, One of the biggest misconceptions I feel like about drop shipping is that you don't have to do any work. You do got to do some work, right? Because you're making a website, and yeah, you have the website, and you don't have the inventory. but customer service is important. So basically, oh, okay. All right. So customer service is important. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that on your website everything is laid out clear as day. Return policy, contact information, have a business email address for people to reach you at. Because somebody does have a return, you have to still middleman that communication. So while it will be relatively easy, right? Because all you have to do is get the return labels from the drop shipping company, send it to the customer, have them send it in. You still have to middleman it. So customer service is important, being able to respond in a timely manner, have all these different things outlined on your website, and then use that as your accountability partner. So if your website says, returns in 30 days, make sure that your drop shipping company is able to honor that. And if your drop shipping company doesn't honor that, change your return policy to basically reflect drop shipping companies that you're working with. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. All right, phase four. So, phase four is basically autopilot automations, and it's the marketing, and it is really where all your hard work is put into play because you have your business outlined, you have your product, you have your drop shipping company, everything's in place for your customers, everything's on your website, right? So now sales. How do we get it to the people? Well, in building your website, you made sure you had the SEO. You made sure your products had good descriptions and good names. You made sure you have good pictures for your product. Um, and you have everything set up right as far as in your branding and marketing. So at this point, now we're running ads. So automated drop shipping is the process of using technology to handle tasks that a human would normally do while running a drop shipping business. The aim is to remove the mundane and tedious tasks so that you can focus on what's most important, like marketing and customer service. So we're going to talk about the things that you are going to want to put in place to basically help things to kind of fall into alignment for you so that you can really just focus on the marketing. So, global pricing rules. That's bottom line is your online store. When you put a product into your store, it's gonna say, okay, this is how much you're gonna purchase the product at from us. If you put a global pricing rule that says, I want to sell every product for 20% profit, you just set that on your website. So every product that you add, automatically it'll increase the price. So you don't have to do the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's tedious. $10, I want to make a $20 profit. You got to do the math. Just make it automatic, so the prices will automatically reflect. And then if you feel like prices are too high, you can go in and change it. Two, install Facebook Pixel. This is going to help you to run automated retargeting ads. It's another thing that people pay people to do, but there are YouTube videos on it. It's really simple. Facebook too, so it can be too complex. We use it a lot, so if you need help, I'm here to help you. Create automated email. So depending upon like the platform that you use, like if you use Shopify, Shopify has campaigns that you can create in there, and you can create a campaign to go out once a month or once a week, and it can be on like sales and things of that nature. Remember, this is autopilot, so the goal is like once a month you're taking the time out, you're mapping out all these different things, and then once you press play, okay, it's gonna automatically send out your campaign once a month. You already got Facebook connected, so your ads are running on Facebook. The pricing is set up, so you can go in and you can add a product, whenever you feel like it, and you don't have to worry about the headache. Moving on to social media, you can schedule a social media post. That's going to be one of the most important elements also is the marketing. So the less that you have to do, the better. You can pay somebody to run your social media or you can schedule your post ahead of time. There's a lot of different platforms that you can use that are for free that can help you schedule. I think Facebook actually does it for free as well. Um, And the last thing is set Facebook Messenger instant replies. So believe it or not, they really come in handy because a lot of times you get those Facebook messages, they're from your business account, so you might not get the notification on your phone. So if you have like an automated text that goes to them and says, "Hey, thanks for reaching out. Go to my website, use this contact form," something like that, simple, helps take one thing off your plate. All right, so what's next? Really, okay, it all depends on where you're at in your business. There are a couple of different steps that you could take. But, if we're talking about, okay, I want to get started on this particular platform, here's a starting point. So at the top, we have Shopify, BigCommerce. I've worked with both of them. They're like really easy to use, especially if you're not big on technology. Like if you're not always on the computer and you don't, and you're not tech savvy, I would say go towards like the most convenient and easy to learn platform. So that would be Shopify and BigCommerce. Um, WooCommerce is great. Shopbase is another great one. Um, I would say like WooCommerce and Shopbase is really for like if you're like really good with web design, I would say you're gonna get the best out of the experience because it's gonna take a lot of work to set up the website and stuff like that. But it's worth it. WooCommerce is like WooCommerce and WordPress are kind of like top echelon of like hosting and website platforms. But you do have to take the time to learn the platform. So if you're looking for an easy way to get started in drop shipping, I recommend Shopify. They have like a free 14-day trial too to get started. And then they also have a lot of different drop shipping companies that are also built into their platform because they've already established those relationships. So that kind of takes some of the homework out of going and having to find a drop shipping company because you kind of search through their database and see the product from there. Does anybody have any questions so far? Because I know we touched on a lot, and we're actually getting ready to wrap up. So I do want to make sure that I can answer any questions that we have before we get too far. And it's like, I forgot to ask my question. But I'm always available afterwards. Not afterwards, like immediately, but like you can always follow up with me, and we can schedule a sit down as well. Um, that is the that is the end of the presentation. There's a couple things I want to touch base on before I let you all go. Yes, so I'll send it to you in an email. You can also like if you go to the files tab, you can download it right there. But I'll send an email. And I added two things. So you have one file that is the PDF. So it's a PDF. And then the other file says business credit. And it's actually a page out of my business credit workshop, but it's really important. So I added it on here because like if you're tuning in and like you don't have a business and you're wondering like what are the core elements of like the business foundation, which we didn't touch on today, but it's something that, I work with entrepreneurs on, you'll be able to see it there and it'll basically say like, your business needs to be registered, you want to have your EIN number, um, it'll talk about like business email address, business phone number, things of that nature. To really help establish the business foundation element. But outside of that, I just want to thank you all for joining me today on this webinar. I really hope it was informative. I hope that I was able to answer a lot of the questions that you have. I know drop shipping, it is definitely a little bit more in depth, but I did want to make sure I covered over all the most important elements to help you to be able to, if you're going and you start to do research online, you can start to understand what they're talking about as they're explaining the different elements of drop shipping. If you do want to explore it a little bit further, if you want to talk about your business and how to incorporate it within your actual company, we can schedule a session to talk about that. Aside from that, I want to thank you all for joining me today. Tell a friend, tell a friend. I got a couple more sessions coming up, and they're free. So why not spread the word? Um, I appreciate you all. Thank you. I'm so glad it was helpful. I hope you all have a great evening and a great week. Talk with you all soon.